Okay, so for today's deep dive, we've looked into some pretty intense source material. It's a mix, really. Part high-performance coaching, part philosophy. And it kicks off with a question that honestly cuts right through the noise. Are you really living? Or just existing?
Yeah, it's designed to make you pause,
Right.
because it acknowledges all those big dreams we have: freedom, finding love, meaningful work,
Yeah.
the usual suspects. But then it hits you with, okay, great.
Yeah.
What did you actually do today, right now, to build that life? These sources, they act like a mirror, sometimes a pretty uncomfortable one. Shows you the gap between where you say you want to be and, well, what you're doing.
Right. And our goal here isn't just feel-good motivation. It's really to unpack this framework. The sources talk about waking up from a kind of sleep, one you might not even know you're in.
Exactly. And the central theme, the
Right.
thread connecting all these points, is pretty straightforward but tough.
Yeah.
It's all about immediate action, like now, and taking full ownership, radical responsibility, they call it. Plus, relentless discipline. That's the foundation. So we've kind of boiled down the 20 main lessons into 3 main chunks, focusing on the how. How do these sources suggest you move from just thinking about it to actually doing it?
Okay, first up, urgency. The urgency principle, basically. Time. The sources argue something really interesting. We think we're killing time, scrolling or hitting snooze, but actually time is killing us. Or rather, we're burning through our life allowance. Every wasted hour is a piece of your one life. Gone.
It's a powerful reframe, isn't it? Not just, oh, I wasted an hour. It's, I destroyed a piece of my future opportunity. Because if your time is your life, then procrastination isn't just delaying a task. It's actively choosing not to invest in yourself. The warning is stark. It's finite, limited resource, no second chances, no do-overs. The clock just keeps ticking. Doesn't care if you're tired or confused or waiting for the right moment.
Which leads directly into that big one, procrastination, the trap. The sources are blunt here. They call "I'll do it later." Well, basically the biggest lie we tell ourselves. The voice of fear or maybe laziness pretending to be rational. But why is later becomes never so psychologically true? What's the mechanism there?
I think it links to momentum
Ah,
or the lack of it. Every time you put something off, you're reinforcing that avoidance pathway in your brain. It's easier to delay next time. And the sources insist, look, you're not waiting for the perfect moment to start. That's the illusion. Because there is no perfect moment. Life's always messy, right? There's always something.
always something. So, okay, besides just don't procrastinate,
Yeah.
what's the practical step? What do they suggest?
One really concrete tactic is about starting small, like really small. Don't overwhelm yourself thinking you need to tackle the whole giant project right now. Just set a timer, maybe 10 minutes, 15 even, and commit only to starting. Just begin. That one small action now creates a ripple. It builds momentum, something 100 perfect plans filed away for later can never do.
Makes sense. That first step breaks the inertia. And moving from planning to doing that needs ownership, right? Which brings us to what they call radical responsibility. This is where it gets pretty direct again. Your life, it's on you, period. Not your parents, not your boss, not the economy, not the government. Yours.
Yeah, they draw a sharp contrast.
Yeah.
You have people stuck blaming everything they didn't get, no money, no support network, bad luck. And then you have the winner's mindset, which apparently says, I don't care what I started with or didn't start with. I'll build it from scratch if I have to.
Okay, but let's push back a little. Doesn't that sound kind of harsh? What if someone's genuinely facing huge systemic barriers, not just, feeling a bit lazy?
That's a fair question. And the sources would say that's precisely when this mindset becomes most critical. They use examples like Oprah Winfrey, born into deep poverty, abused, unimaginable challenges.
Yeah.
The argument isn't to ignore that reality, it's to refuse to let that history define your future as a victim. Acknowledge the struggle, yes, but then use that pain, that difficulty, as fuel. Use it to build. Don't let it be the reason you stop. It's about actively seeking solutions, however hard. Write down the problem, then write down step 1 to fix it.
Yeah.
Okay, so shifting gears a bit, let's look inward. The comfort zone trap. Feels safe, predictable, right, routine, easy. But the sources warn that this very comfort is where potential goes to die, quietly. No drama, just stagnation. If you always play it safe, you never grow. You just stay the same.
Right, like that analogy they use of the seed. It has to break through the dirt. It needs the sun, the wind, the resistance. That's what makes it strong. Staying buried in the comfort zone means, well, nothing happens.
Exactly. So the prescription, while simple to say, is hard to do. Deliberately do something uncomfortable every single day. It doesn't have to be huge.
Yeah.
Could be making that call you're dreading, starting a new workout, speaking up in a meeting, maybe even failing at something new, failing forward, they call it. The goal isn't immediate success, it's building the habit of facing resistance, tolerating discomfort.
And this is where it gets really fascinating for me because the struggle isn't just external obstacles. The sources claim the biggest fight is internal. It's you versus,
Yeah.
well, you. Like every day, it's a battle between the part of you that wants to chill and scroll and the part that has ambitions.
Yes, they frame it as this constant internal choice. Two versions of you are always there. Which one gets control today? And this is where willpower comes in. Crucial concept. They emphasize it's a muscle, needs training. You hear that phrase, feelings are liars, a lot in this kind of material. But they explain why.
Okay, so if feelings are liars, what's the truth then? How does that work?
The truth, according to these sources, is that willpower isn't like motivation, which can come and go based on mood. Willpower is more like mental energy. It's a finite resource. It gets depleted as you make decisions through the day. So if you wait until you feel like doing the hard thing, you probably never will, especially later in the day. Your feelings will talk you out of it. Real willpower is doing the important thing, especially when you don't feel like it. And you train it with small wins. Pick one small habit you want to change, like no phone after 10 p.m. Don't try to overhaul your whole life at once. Win that small battle consistently. Build the muscle.
Okay. And what if you look around and feel like the life you're living just isn't authentic? It feels fake.
And then the message is pretty empowering, actually. You're the artist. You hold the brush. If the current picture isn't right, you have the power to paint over it. Or, as they put it, maybe more dramatically, burn it to the ground and start again. You can redesign.
Wow. That's intense.
It is. And it includes dealing with pain. Because transformation often involves pain, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Setbacks, failures, betrayals.
Yeah.
These things hurt. But the sources argue that strong people learn to channel that energy. They don't let pain crush them. They let it forge them, turn that hurt into fuel, into discipline, motivation. Remember that line? The darkest nights produce the brightest stars. Use the hardship. Let it sharpen you.
All right, let's shift to the outside world now. The external traps we fall into. First one, the comparison killer. This is huge in the age of social media, isn't it? The sources say comparing yourself to others is basically the fastest way to kill your own happiness and progress. Why? Because we're always comparing our real, messy behind-the-scenes footage with someone else's perfectly edited highlight reel.
Exactly. You see 15 seconds of their curated success, the perfect vacation photo, the award, the seemingly effortless win, and you stack up your entire 24 hours of struggle, doubt, and effort against that. It's a completely skewed comparison. It's guaranteed to make you feel inadequate. And it stops you from appreciating your own journey.
I love that analogy they use about the flowers. If a sunflower compares itself to a rose, or vice versa, they both just forget their own unique beauty, right? They're different, and that's the point. So the practical advice here is stop looking sideways so much.
Pretty much. Focus on your own lane. The only comparison that matters, they say, is you today versus you last month or last year. Are you growing? That's the metric, not how you stack up against someone else's curated feed.
Makes sense. Okay, next external factor. Bad advice. Protecting your vision.
Yeah, this one's crucial. The sources have a really simple, sharp rule for this. Don't take directions from someone who hasn't driven the kind of car you want to drive. Metaphorically speaking, of course.
Right. It seems so obvious, but we do it all the time, don't we? Like your uncle, who's always worked a safe 9-to-5 job, warns you starting a business is way too risky. Well, his advice comes from his experience and his risk tolerance, not necessarily relevant to your goals.
You have to ask, has this person actually achieved what I'm trying to achieve? Or something similar? If not, thank them for their concern. But filter heavily. Protect your dream from fear, especially other people's fear projected onto you. It can derail you for years.
And that connects to another trap, doesn't it? The prison of dreams, meaning living just for other people's expectations.
Exactly. Living to please your family or society or fit into some predefined box. The sources warn this leads to a kind of quiet desperation. You might look successful on the outside, but you feel hollow inside. You end up resenting the very life you built. Sometimes pursuing your real dream means you will disappoint some people, at least temporarily. It might mean walking a path alone for a while. And that's okay. It has to be okay.
Which brings us to maybe the hardest truth, but also maybe the most freeing. The idea that fundamentally nobody really cares about your problems, not in the way you think.
Yeah, it sounds harsh,
Yeah.
right? But think about it. Everyone is wrapped up in their own drama, their own struggles, their own lives. They just don't have the bandwidth to be obsessing over your setbacks or mistakes. And the sources say this is your superpower. If nobody really cares that much, you're free. Free to try things. Free to fail spectacularly. Free to look silly while you're learning. Free to pivot without needing a committee's approval. You're liberated from that constant paralyzing need for external validation.
That makes so much sense. If no one's watching that closely, the stakes feel lower for experimenting. And that leads to the final big mandate from these sources. You have to pick yourself.
Yes. Stop waiting. Waiting for permission. Waiting for someone to discover you. Waiting for the lucky break, the perfect mentor, the invitation. It's not coming. The world generally only pays attention after you've already done the hard work, after you've achieved something. You have to be the one to approve your own project. Greenlight yourself. Start before you feel ready. Believe in what you're doing so fiercely that other people eventually have to take notice. Launch the thing. Send the application. Make the first move.
Okay, so let's try to pull all this together. If we synthesize this whole philosophy, what's the absolute core takeaway?
I think it boils down to this. Success isn't born from thinking about it or overthinking it. That just makes you tired before you even start, right? Analysis paralysis. Success comes from doing. Consistent action. It's about winning that internal battle every day. Starve the part of you that wants distraction. Feed the part that wants focus. You have to consciously choose to be that person. The one who shows up when it's hard. Who puts in the work when others make excuses. Who stays disciplined when motivation fades.
Yeah, the sources are really clear on that. Life rewards action results. Performance. Not just good intentions or elaborate plans. You have to demand more from yourself than anyone else would. Fight for what you want.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive, the final choice really rests with you, the listener. The sources put it starkly. The only thing potentially worse, scarier than failing, is regret. Regret, they say, lodges itself in your chest and stays there forever. And since life doesn't actually owe you anything, not success, not happiness, not fairness,
Yeah.
the path forward is kind of clear, isn't it? Are you going to let that potential inside you just wither? Let those dreams die silently in your mind? Or are you going to decide right now to stand up, to become that storm waiting to rise, as one source put it, to be the person who faces the fire and comes out stronger? The choice and the time is now.